Hi, you're listening to Stretch Street Podcast.
Stretch Street Podcast
Stretch Street with the energetic EJ.
with the energetic EJ.
With the energetic EJ.
Don't stop listening.
Hello and welcome to another episode on the Stretch Street Podcast. This is the energetic EJ and I am delighted to be here again this week. As you can see already, even from the thumbnail and from the poster of today's episode, that I am alone today. I do not have a guest because I have a special announcement to make. Yes, but before I go into the announcement, if this is your first time tuning into this podcast, welcome. This is the Stretch Street Podcast, where I share stretch stories to draw out life lessons from. So basically, I bring on guests from all over the world to share their challenging stories, which I have termed their stretch stories, so that they are able to tell us how they were able to navigate through those periods and what they were able to do to come out of those stretching periods and the life lessons that they learned from those experiences. That is what the Stretch Street Podcast is all about. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Please do subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and also if you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, please do favorite us there. You know, you can follow the channel. If you're watching on Spotify, you can send us a message. You can actually send us voice messages via Spotify. All right. So do that if you want to connect with us and interact with this podcast. Yes, I say us because, again, I am looking at, a point where I'll have a whole team working with me. So I'm speaking that into existence. And that is in line with what I want to talk about today, the special announcement. Today, I'm happy, delighted, grateful, joyful, like what are all the other adjectives to use, to announce to you that I am officially counting down to my 150th episode on this podcast. Yes, 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 yes. Can you believe that? 150 episodes. I mean, I started this podcast in late 2020, I believe. And if you calculated that, it's going to about 2.5 years, right? 1 year is 53 weeks. So you'd be like, okay, 150 is not yes, because in between those times, I took breaks. Sometimes I would take like a month break. Sometimes I would take 2 weeks break and, do a new season. And that was when the podcast was the Afrocentrist podcast. Before I then rebranded into Stretch Street Podcast. But since I rebranded into Stretch Street Podcast, I have not gone on any break. And I am super delighted and grateful to God for how far the journey has been. And you know the saying that, when you want to become a master at anything, you have to put in 10,000 hours. And I'm looking at myself, sometimes I look at the numbers, sometimes I look at my journey and I'm wondering, I'm trying to weigh it with the wrong metrics, especially like the numbers or the engagement or things like that. But I know for sure that there are people who listen, who watch, who come back with feedback. Some don't, some do, right? But again, I am here today just with gratitude in my heart to thank God for the journey so far, and to let you know that if you are thinking of anything, it could be your podcast as well. It could be like a course you're supposed to take. It could be going back to school. It could be starting a relationship. It could be starting a business. It could be anything that you really want to do, but you're afraid of starting at all. I want to let you know today that you cannot improve what you did not start. You cannot grow what you did not start. If you did not plant that seed, you cannot go back there to check in 3 months, in 3 weeks, even in 3 days to see if something is sprouting out of the ground because you didn't start the process in the first place. So this episode today is to announce to you, number one, that I'm counting down to my 150th episode. So from this episode, I have 7 more to go to hit my 150th episode, and we're going to celebrate it big time. Now, like right now, the plan is to have a live session on that date, which I will announce in subsequent episodes as I go on and as I count down to that date. We're going to have 150 minutes to celebrate 150 episodes. All right. So it's going to be live. So if you want to be a part of that, please let me know. Send me an email to stretchstreetpod@gmail.com. Let me know, like, you would like to share, whether it's your feedback from having listened to some of the episodes that I've put out, or you also have a stretch story that you want to share. It is going to be like very like freestyle that day. But the goal is to do it for 150 minutes. So about 2.5 hours. We're going to be there live. It's going to be streaming live here on this YouTube channel and maybe on our Instagram channel as well. It depends. It depends on how I'm able to pull that off. But for sure, it's going to be streaming on this YouTube channel. So you want to be a part of that. You want to share your story. You want to share your testimonials of how my podcast has been a blessing to you, if it has been in any way and any form. I am so happy to have you on board. So if you want to be a part of that, let me know so that I can slot you in. We can have timings. We can have, start to plan towards it. 7 weeks to prepare. So we have enough time. All right. So two things I've said today. I'm counting down to my 150th episodes, which is going to be celebrated big time. But the second one is to remind you and actually to challenge you to start that thing that you needed to start, that thing that you've been thinking about, that you've been worried about, that you've been concerned about, oh, what if it doesn't work? Oh, what will people say? Please, can you just put aside what will people say and start? Because it is only when you start that you can actually grow it. And it's only when you grow it that you can grow it to the point where you start to get the results that you desire. So for me, my journey, would I say I have accomplished all my goals that I set out to accomplish when I started this podcast? Not quite, but I have accomplished some. And there are some that I didn't even envisage that has happened, that I am so grateful and, like, I don't even know what to say, right? I'm so grateful for. So I want to encourage you today that you start on that project, start that relationship, start that journey to healing, start that journey to recovery, start that journey to a whole turnaround in your life. Maybe diet, maybe exercise, whatever it is, just start, because it is only when you start that you're able to grow. And it's only when you grow that you're then worthy and deserving of the results that you desire. I hope that this episode has helped you. I know it's quite short, but that's the whole point. So please join me as I count down. Join me as I celebrate my 150th episode. I know it is small, but again, it is a lot. Okay. And I am super excited. So that's it for today. Again, send me a message if you want to be a part of it. You can reach out to me on social media, or you can send me an email to stretchstreetpod@gmail.com to say, EJ, I want to celebrate with you. I want to be live and direct with you. I want to ask you questions. I want to share my story. I want to give you my feedback on how your podcast has done, or what your podcast has done for me, what I've learned from you. It's going to be all talk, celebration, and just sharing and caring. Okay. So please, I want you to be a part of it. So don't leave me alone, okay? Do not leave me. Do not leave me hanging. Do not leave me dry, okay? 7 weeks from now, only 7 weeks before you do like this, bam, it is 7 weeks, okay? I think that will be the second week in July. But as we go along, I'll keep talking about it. I'll probably create posters about it to start the countdown. All right. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey so far. I really, really appreciate you. I celebrate you. If you're just joining this family, please do invite others to join us. There are so many episodes that I've put out already with life nuggets, like stories that would keep you inspired. So go binge on them on my YouTube channel, or on Spotify, or on Apple Podcasts, or on Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Breaker, Hyatt Radio, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts on. Go and binge on them, so that if you wanted to give me feedback, you can come join us on or at the celebration when we're celebrating the 150th episode, and you can share your feedback then. All right. Let me go now. I said I want to keep this short and sweet. I'll see you next week with a guest this time around, as we all together count down to my 150th episode. My name is the Energetic EJ, and I help purpose-driven individuals start, grow, and monetize live audio, podcasting, audiobooks, to use their voices for impact. So if any of these things are things you want to do, I am your girl. I'd like to help you. By the way, I have a community that is called Voice Impact Movement, where I help people turn their voices into generating instruments. And what is the instrument generating? It's generating impact for them, it is growing their influence, and it is attracting income. If you want to be a part of that, check the links in the description of this video and you see that you can become or welcome to my family, the Voice Impact Movement. Again, let me leave now before I continue to talk because I can talk forever. I'm going to see you next week. Bye.